Today is Monday, July 8th. We'll tell you about a major storm heading for Texas and the ongoing heat wave on both coasts. Also, new calls for President Biden to step aside in the next election. Plus, a few things to know that might have you taking action ASAP, including the largest collection of stolen passwords ever being sold, so you might want to update your accounts. 2 recalls from big brand names. I have one affected product in my house right now. And the best days and times to book your travel this year. Those stories and even more news to know next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Hurricane Beryl is about to become the first storm this Atlantic hurricane season to make landfall in the U.S. It's bearing down on the Texas coast now and getting stronger as it gets closer. You'll remember, at its worst, Beryl was a Category 5 hurricane and devastated parts of the Caribbean. But it had been weakening ever since and even got downgraded to a tropical storm over the weekend. Well, now Beryl is back to a Category 1 hurricane, and it's expected to make landfall about halfway between Corpus Christi and Galveston early this morning. It could bring a life-threatening storm surge and strong winds to the coast, and rain and flash flooding is possible for the whole eastern half of the Lone Star State. People who live in low-lying areas have been evacuating. Other Texans have been boarding up homes and businesses, filling sandbags, and stocking up on supplies. FEMA has sent emergency responders, search and rescue teams, and other resources to the Texas coast. Meanwhile, a long-running heat wave just keeps breaking records across the U.S. Many areas in Northern California surpassed 110 degrees over the weekend, and much of the West Coast was in the triple digits. And in Death Valley National Park in Eastern California, temps got up to 128. On the other side of the country, temperatures also got above 100 degrees on the East Coast, where it was also more humid. And it's expected to stay hot in most of those areas throughout the week, with advisories still in effect from Las Vegas to Seattle and along the eastern seaboard and deep south. The UK has a new prime minister. On Friday, Keir Starmer became the 58th prime minister in the country's history after a landslide election victory. This is a big change for one of America's most important allies, since Starmer belongs to the center-left Labour Party. And for the last 14 years, Britain has had a conservative government. The outgoing Conservative PM, Rishi Sunak, has already resigned and gone home. And Starmer has already met King Charles, appointed his cabinet, and gotten to work. In his first speech to the nation as prime minister, he said the country was on a, quote, mission of national renewal. And when asked about Britain's relationship with the U.S., Starmer promised to continue working with Americans no matter who ends up in the White House next year. By the way, there was also an election upset in Iran. In a runoff, a relative moderate, Masoud Pezeshkian, defeated an ultra-conservative former nuclear negotiator who could have made relations with the U.S. even worse. Pezeshkian has been advocating for moderate policies at home and improved relations with the West. For example, he's promised to negotiate over the country's nuclear program in an effort to lift sanctions, and he says he wants to promote more humane behavior toward women. Keep in mind, though, Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah, still wields the most power in government, and he's against improved relations with the West. So it's not clear exactly how much Pezeshkian will be able to change. Stay tuned. President Biden has been busy trying to assure Americans he's still qualified to be in the White House, even after a highly criticized debate performance and a dip in the polls. The past few days, he spoke at several campaign events and sat down for a TV interview. And over again, he rejected calls to drop out of the 2024 election, insisting he's still in good shape. In fact, he told ABC News that only God could convince him to leave the race. But some lawmakers are trying anyway. So far, 5 Democratic members of Congress have publicly called for Biden to stop running for re-election. Behind closed doors, several other senior Dems reportedly have too. And some have started floating ideas for how to pick a new candidate should Biden agree to step aside. Though others have publicly come out in support of the president, saying his record should speak for itself, that he has delivered real results for the country and knows what it takes to beat former President Trump. Tomorrow, both House Democrats and Senate Democrats plan to meet again, and the president's future is expected to be a main part of their talks. To be continued. 2 Union soldiers received the nation's highest military award more than 160 years after a daring mission. In one of the earliest special operations in U.S. Army history, the soldiers dressed as civilians and infiltrated the Confederacy during the Civil War. Privates Philip Shadrach and George Wilson hijacked a train 200 miles behind Confederate lines and drove it north for nearly 90 miles, destroying tracks, switches, and bridges along the way. Eventually, they were caught and ended up being executed over the raid. But they were never forgotten. Their descendants attended a White House ceremony where President Biden posthumously awarded Shadrach and Wilson with the Medal of Honor. We have more news coming up, from stolen passwords and big recalls to this year's big summer deals and expert travel tips. But first, thanks to our sponsor, Quince. We continue to report how this is a busy travel season. And while vacation can certainly be fun, the travel part can sometimes be stressful, including deciding what to pack. But then I discovered Quince. Quince is my new go-to for high-quality vacation essentials that I'll be putting in my suitcase for many trips to come. Think premium European linen dresses, blouses and shorts from $30, washable silk tops, premium luggage options, and so much more. I mean, staples like my black linen pants can be paired with so many different tops and are both comfortable and cute. And did you hear me mention my washable silk tank? The best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. So I love that. Pack your bags with high-quality essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/newsworthy for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE, quince.com/newsworthy to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to the news. Well, it looks like a lot of Americans are having a tough time getting home from their 4th of July getaways. At the airports, TSA was expecting yesterday to be the busiest air travel day ever in the U.S., with about 3 million passengers passing through security checkpoints, though thousands faced delays or cancellations. At the same time, AAA expected yesterday to be the worst day of the holiday weekend for people driving, with more than 60 million Americans out on the roads. Now, all of yesterday's setbacks could be adding to today's traffic as well. So if you plan to drive, AAA suggests waiting until after 7 p.m. If you plan to fly, TSA asks you leave yourself plenty of time by showing up to flights early. And of course, check your flight status before you head to the airport. It's probably a good time to update your passwords. Security researchers say the world's largest collection of stolen passwords was recently uploaded to an infamous crime marketplace. A hacker apparently posted almost 10 billion unique passwords, thought to have been collected from several different data breaches and hacks over the years. Now, researchers say cybercriminals could exploit the collection to get access into all kinds of online accounts, causing data breaches, financial frauds, and identity thefts. To see if any of your passwords are included in this database, you can use the Cyber News Exposed Password Checker, which we've included in today's episode notes. But whether you were compromised or not, experts suggest changing your passwords and using unique ones for every single account you have. Password managers like 1Password or ProtonPass could help you keep track. There are a couple more big recalls we want to warn you about. First, the FDA issued its highest risk level for organic chia seeds sold at Walmart, saying they could give you salmonella poisoning. They were sold in 32-ounce bags under the Great Value brand all across the U.S. If you have a bag at home, you're asked to throw it away or bring it back to the store for a replacement. Another recall involves popular Hatch baby sound machines. The issue is with the power adapter on the Rest First Generation model. The company says the plastic around the adapter can detach when you take it off the outlet, which poses an electrocution risk. There have already been reports of some customers getting shocked, but thankfully they're expected to be okay. The sound machines were sold between 2019 and this year from Amazon, Bye Bye Baby, Target, Walmart, Pottery Barn Kids, Best Buy, and more. So if you have one at home, Hatch wants you to cut the cord, then contact the company for a free adapter replacement. We have more information about both recalls in today's episode notes. Well, this week kicks off a summer shopping frenzy for major retailers. Both Target and Walmart are promoting big sales this week, meant to compete with Amazon's Prime Days happening next week. At Target, it's called Circle Week, and the big box store says it's the biggest sale of the season. With that, it's promising 30% off certain backpacks, 40% off kitchen items, and 50% off toys. Walmart is also promoting what it calls its largest savings event ever. It features back-to-school items, as well as TVs, fitness equipment, travel items, and so on. You can check out even more competing sales this week at Kohl's, Sam's Club, and more. Or if you'd rather wait for Amazon Prime Days, those are officially happening next Tuesday and Wednesday, though some early Prime Day deals have already started popping up. This holiday weekend was another successful one for the box office. As expected, Despicable Me 4 led the way, bringing in nearly $123 million since it opened on Wednesday. That extends a long reign for the Minions. Since first debuting in 2010, each entry of the Despicable Me franchise has been seemingly guaranteed to bring in about $1 billion. And the fourth installment just adds to a big blockbuster summer, along with other hits like Bad Boys Ride or Die and Pixar's Inside Out 2. Next up, movie theater chains are looking forward to Deadpool and Wolverine launching later this month. But first, it is Shark Week. This year, WWE wrestler and movie star John Cena will host, and there are some new segments planned, like Belly of the Beast, which Discovery describes as a look into the world of great white shark feeding frenzies. Another segment follows scientists looking into what's potentially a new species of hammerhead shark. Overall, Discovery is planning more than 20 hours of shark-based entertainment every night through Saturday. You can watch it all on the Discovery Channel or stream it on Max. That's it for the main news, so now it's time for Money Monday, when we talk about one interesting money-related news story. But first, this episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. We've all heard the saying, comparison is the thief of joy, right? But with social media, it can be hard not to compare when everyone's posting the highlights of their lives. Whether it's on social media or in real life, if you've ever found yourself wishing your life looked like someone else's, therapy can help you focus on what you want instead of what others have, so you can actually start living your best life. In fact, whatever mindset shift I need in any given moment, therapy has given me the strategies to first recognize what's actually going on and then respond to it in the best way for that moment. If you're thinking of starting therapy, BetterHelp is a great place to start. It's online, so it's convenient and flexible, and it makes it really simple to switch therapists if you need, so you can find the best match for you, no awkward conversations required, and no additional charge. So stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/newsworthy today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to Money Monday. So if you haven't planned a summer vacation yet, don't worry, there's still time to get a good deal. But it could depend on what day of the week you decide to book a flight. Expedia says these days the cheapest day to buy airfare is Sunday, that it can save you about 5% on domestic flights and 15% on international flights. Though what usually makes even more of a difference is when you actually take off. Cheaper flights are often first thing in the morning or late at night in the middle of the week. And you actually don't need to book too far in advance if you're traveling within the U.S. Expedia says the sweet spot for finding a good deal is 28 to 35 days before departure. That said, if you want to fly internationally, experts still recommend booking at least 6 months in advance. Forbes also suggests booking changeable flights so you can rebook at a cheaper rate when the price drops without having to pay a change fee. There are plenty of free options for tracking flight prices, too. For example, Google Flights and Capital One both have price watch tools, or you can subscribe to flight deal services that will alert you when there's a cheap flight from where you live. Just some of those services include Dollar Flight Club, Fare Drop, and Going, which used to be called Scott's Cheap Flights. All right, thank you so much for joining us today after the long holiday weekend. We hope we helped you get all caught up. And of course, we'll be back with even more news to know tomorrow. For now, have a great day.